I thought, wow, this is awesome. And I contacted the owner myself and asked, wow, I would love to have a go with this car. And he said for him it was the greatest opportunity, he said, to have me in the car. So he came to Sebring, he's a big racing fan, and then we met, and he said, okay, there's a race in Spa, but the car was not ready for the race in Spa, so I did the race in Zolder, and it was awesome to drive this car. The sound is just a product. It was really screaming loud, and it was a great pleasure. And they did a fantastic job at restoring the car. The car is mint, and they spent a lot of money in making the car perfect like it was. And I got to meet the old people that tuned the car from Lotterer in the old days, and they told me a lot of stories about my dad. It was really cool, and I'm gonna drive it again in Spa. So I'm really looking forward. You know, it's just something for fun and for pleasure, without pressure.
Are you learning much about your dad from these stories?
Yeah, for sure. They were telling me cool stories. You know, my dad passed away 2-3 years ago, so it's always cool to hear nice stories. And he was really dedicated to his job, and so it's for sure it's something to lift the spirit.
This is now you started with Bullis, you know? And now second or third year with Audi Sport.
Third.
How would you, given I know your first start, you had two drivers because one. So just two that year. What's been the most demanding race for you? That year, or I know last year was very intense.
Well, the first year was very demanding physically because each time you would stay almost 4 hours in the car, like 4 stints, and the rest time was very little. So you run out of the car, get a massage, eat, try to sleep. If I was lucky, I could close my eyes for half an hour, and then you have to wake up, you know, take a shower to wake yourself up a little bit. Sometimes not even time, and did the whole race like that. And I was really in a different world, you know. When I crossed the checkered flag, I didn't really realize the race was over. I was so into that thing, and I thought. Yeah, okay, let's get ready for the next stint, you know. But then after I realized how I was really tired, but it gave me the opportunity to join the works team too. So they apparently did okay in that race. But yeah, physically that was the most demanding one. And last year mentally was more demanding because when the rain came, it was really tricky to keep the car on the track. We decided to stay out. I had medium tires on, and I had poor visibility. I couldn't really judge the track. I couldn't see if it was wet or not. So, you know, it's really difficult to keep a sports car like that in slippery conditions on the road because we have very little drag, and the car still weighs around 900 kilos. So it's they're really just not ideal in those conditions. There's not a lot of mechanical grip. So it was very tough to keep the car on the track, and especially in that hour was almost getting a headache. But finally I managed to get it through.
Speaking of mechanical grip in last year's race, you also had the puncture. You had to go to keep yourself within the fuel window. How hard was it to, at the same time you were also on a pace strategy, how hard was it to keep that pace with that puncture progressively over, was it 4 laps, I think?
Yeah, during 3-4 laps we had to survive with that puncture. Actually, it was not a big problem. I could feel a slight change in balance and everything, but it was not too difficult for me to keep the car within its pace. It was more a worrying factor that the tire would explode or something bad might happen. So, you know, I was trusting the team. They had the full overview how long I would have to stay out, and I'm sure they will never take any unnecessary risk for me to stay out and just see what happens. They knew exactly, okay, we can go until that point, and that's it.
Does that have any mental effect on you when you've seen both of your teammate cars go out and you've got a puncture, you've gone several laps on the puncture, you've got to attack a curve like Porsche flat out? What goes through your mind mentally when you're in a situation?
You know, we're constantly playing with the limit of the car, and this is something you feel in your body, in your hands, in your butt, you know, like what kind of feedback it gives you back, and you're constantly adjusting it. And the puncture came slow, so kind of drove into it, and for sure I was a bit careful with it, but you need a lot of trust, a lot of trust, even in that kind of situation. Just trusted that, I felt enough feedback to keep pushing from the car, and that the support from the tire was still there. And I trusted the team that I can still drive flat out without worrying.
The mental game that you're speaking of, what was it like being in the car? Peugeot was clearly trying to block lap traffic. The car was not on the good lap. What was it like to drive behind that? And how did you maintain a certain level of mental focus to know that this is a lapped car and you just got to go around it?
Yeah, this was first of all a surprise at the beginning, because you come to a lap car, the first expectation you have is that he's going to let you by. You get close and he's starting to slow you down and braking, especially to slow you down for the other car to catch up. And then you think, wow, this is not fair, but you have to keep calm and keep the car on the track. And in that situation, it's not like a usual sprint race where it's about one driver against the other. There's no personal feel there, because it's Audi against Peugeot, and the only target that I had, it didn't matter if it was a lap car or not, that was to get by the car as fast as possible, and I had to stay calm and don't take it personal, and so it was just like another race car on track. It was not a direct battle, and for sure it was unnecessary to take those risks with the lapped car. But that was the game at the moment, and I quickly understood that, and I had to make the most out of it, and not get upset or it's just waste of energy if you have your thoughts of this is unfair or scream at the radio. I didn't say anything. I was just focusing on using any opportunity to get by.
Moving forward to this year, how do you? The car may look very similar to the car you drove last year, but with the e-tron, it's decidedly different. Could you explain a little bit how you maybe approach the track differently, certain curves differently with this car?
The car is completely new. There's almost no carryover parts from the R18. The R18 e-tron we have this year is a brand new car. But of course we carry over the knowledge and we have a lot of data, and for us drivers we carry over the confidence we built up with the previous R18, which was a really good car, and we improved it to have an even better car. And the principle and the plan is to not have a massive change, because we were going in a really good direction with R18, and we kept improving on that. So for us in the driving style, there's not a big difference. There is some difference with the hybrid, because we recuperate and we boost. So these two things have some influence on the braking strategy and on the acceleration strategy. So tires will feel different on the front because we boost on the front tires, and braking will be stronger through the recuperation. But this is all factors we are still learning about. They're very small, but we're learning about, and but driving is very, very similar.
Do you maybe approach, as you're trying to build up your recuperation particularly, do you maybe approach any particular curves differently on this track, because you know that's a good place to recapture?
Basically not, but in traffic, yes. If you see a car ahead and you won't make it to overtake him until the corner, you lift off earlier, and as soon as you lift the power, you start to recuperate, and the longer you recuperate, the more you can boost, unless you reach your limit of energy from the rules, like just 500 kilograms. But mostly we try to play with the traffic, and also if you lift earlier, you will consume less fuel, so there's no point going flat out to the corner. So it's better to lift earlier, take the momentum, and then pass them on the straight. It's all these things you try to optimize each time you see a car in front of you to lift off earlier, and then try to time it well that you don't lose time and don't waste useless.
Do you think the e-tron system will, or have you found that e-tron system will affect your tire wear much?
There is a factor, but we haven't really noticed so much yet, because it's not like it's massively a lot of power. It's, we say it's 200 horsepower, but that would be like the peak power. We have different ramps, and the power comes smooth and increasingly. So we try to not stress the front tires more than necessary.
I know we haven't seen Toyota yet competitively on the circuit or any of the tracks so far in the race. Any thoughts on how things are going to go in practice or qualifying?
Well, we did the pre-test a week ago, and I met some on the track, and from what I could see is that they have quite a good hybrid system as well, and they have an impressive acceleration. On the other hand, they can boost from 0 kilometers per hour because they're boosting only on the rear wheels. And the rules say that they can do it from early on, because if we would do it from early on, we would have a massive traction advantage, because it would be almost like a permanent quattro drive. So they limit us for 120, that we can boost from 120. In this, you can see that they gain a little bit at the bottom. We have a better car balance, we're better in the corners. And then in terms of straight line speeds, if you look at the data, they're a little bit faster, but we are much better in the corners. So this is always a compromise. I think they probably learned a lot driving with a car here, and for sure will improve for the race weekend. But we also drove the first time with our car, a new car here, and we're improving as well. So, but I can say it's good news that they're competitive, because as you saw the race last year, it makes everything much more tasty if you have a strong competitor. And I'm looking forward to a nice battle. I hope they're not too strong.
Well, speaking of ones we were on last year, so you were a movie star this year with the documentary. How have you found any difference in the level with which people are aware of your win last year?
It's Le Mans is a very international race, so it's very spread a little bit around the world, and it's not like Ben, my teammate. He's French, and he gets a lot more like local TV audience, and Marcel is a Swiss hero now for being the first Swiss driver to win at Le Mans. I'm more a bit international guy, because I grew up in Belgium. I'm German, but my father was Peruvian, so. And Germans have Formula One, so it's they're a bit spoiled in racing. So I'm not getting so much coverage. But this movie for sure made it a lot cooler to see what Le Mans is again, and it's a great. But for me personally, it's a great memory to have this DVD for my life in the future, to watch it. And they did a great job at explaining in a very simple way, but still everything remains detailed and technical about how the race went, about the consumption and the tire wear. So it's really came out very nice together, and I hope a lot of people watch it and get more aware about how great Le Mans is.
In the premiere in LA, was that a little bit different from what you do? I noticed you were. I was there. It seems like you're friends with actors and some of the people who were there as well. So maybe you've done that sort of thing before. I don't know.
It's a complete new world to me. I met some actors because they came to shoot a movie in Tokyo, and I had common friends that knew them from before, and so we became friends in Tokyo, and then when I found out that I'm invited to the premiere, I said, "Hey guys, I'm coming to your world. Come over," and they were really excited in watching the premiere, and we were all together. We had a great time, and for sure it's new to me, and I really enjoyed it. Audi USA took great care of us. We had Marcel, Ben, and me. We had an awesome time there, and we would come back anytime. It was really nice. In Tokyo, I do sometimes stuff like that. I'm ambassador for Audi in Japan, and they do some events in the city which are a bit more similar to what we did in LA. So it's always nice to experience things like that as well.